Pony, Trevor here. What, were you expecting me to say everybody as usual? Well, today's topics are about Equestria Girls, Pony Life, and Generation 5 of My Little Pony. The first thing I want to discuss are my honest thoughts on Equestria Girls as a franchise, and the reason why it exists in the first place. Equestria Girls was first launched in 2013 as a spin-off series to My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and was also made to sell merchandise such as toys, since Hasbro is a toy company after all. Equestria Girls takes place in an alternate reality where human counterparts of various ponies live, including the main six, as well as new characters such as Sunset Shimmer, who used to be evil and corrupted, but ever since her defeat, she learns to be a better person and becomes best friends with the main six and other human counterparts. In this franchise, there are 4 movies, plus many half-hour specials, and various shorts including the summertime ones, as well as the choose-your-own ending episodes, some of which are my favorites. Now, keep in mind that I'm not going to go into full detail on every single one of these because if I did, we'd be here all day, and I don't want this video to be too long. The first movie is about Twilight Sparkle entering the human world in order to retrieve her stolen crown from the corrupted Sunset Shimmer, but has to learn to adapt to the human world and interact with her human friend counterparts from the pony world. The second movie, Rainbow Rocks, is about Twilight returning to the human world in order to defeat the Dazzlings during a band competition. In the third movie, Friendship Games, we learned that there was another Twilight Sparkle who lives in the human world, and in the end, we get to see the two of them seeing each other for the first time, which I thought was a pretty funny ending. And in the fourth movie, Legend of Everfree, the gang goes to Camp Everfree, where the human Twilight learns to overcome her dark counterpart Midnight Sparkle and to save the camp from the corrupted Gloriosa Daisy, who turns back to normal after her final defeat. After the first 4 movies, we've gotten some half-hour specials, including Forgotten Friendship, which introduces us to a new character named Wallflower Blush, who in my opinion was wasted potential because she only appeared once in the entire series and never came back even after she reformed in the end. At least with Sunset Shimmer, she developed over time in the series and became a better person. Why couldn't they do the same thing with Wallflower Blush? I mean, she had so much potential. Another wasted character in my honest opinion was Juniper Montage, who only appeared in a couple half-hour specials known as Mirror Magic and Movie Magic. Like Wallflower Blush, she also reformed at the end of each special, but only a couple of times, which is such a waste because I would have loved to see both characters develop over time and become better people, just like Sunset Shimmer. And furthermore, I would have loved to see a proper ending to Equestria Girls, like the part where all the students graduated Canterlot High, as well as growing up as adults. If the mainline series ended on an overall great note, why not the spin-off series as well? Not to mention that it would have been very interesting to see Sunset Shimmer seeing another version of herself in the same world, just like with the 2 Twilights in the Friendship Games. And yeah, I am aware that a lot of fans have already made theories about that, and I do have to agree with them here. So in conclusion, Equestria Girls as a spin-off series is very interesting, mainly because of the human counterparts of the pony characters. I even liked all the movies, specials, and shorts for the most part. In fact, some of my favorites include the short where Sunset gets a pet of her own, as well as those starring Fluttershy, my favorite character overall. Though I wish we would get to see more human counterparts, including Noteworthy, Coco Crusoe, and the boy bullies from Cloudsdale. But, oh well, beggars can't be choosers. And I especially love the romantic relationships between the 2 Twilights and the respective boyfriends in the movies. It's too bad we never get to see them together again, or even get married at the end. I mean, both Twilights deserve boyfriends of their own. Okay, now let's move on to Pony Life, which a lot of bronies and Pegasisters had a gripe with when it first came out. Many of them thought it was too much like Teen Titans Go, but for girls, and that some of the characters were acting strange throughout this series. For example, there were moments where Fluttershy suddenly grew very big like a giantess, which I'll admit was very odd of her to do, but at the same time, It's kind of hilarious. Not to mention that the animation is a bit different from the original G-Force show, and a lot like that Unikitty cartoon on Cartoon Network. Are they the same animation company? Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I actually don't know. Now, what do I think of Pony Life exactly? Well, I'm normally going to get backlash for saying this, but I actually kind of like this spin-off because of its unique chibi-like style characters and animation. While yes, it's not as good as normal G4 in terms of pacing, character development, and 2D animation, but for a spin-off show, it's kind of decent. I love how the actors and actresses were doing their best to make their characters act and sound wacky at times, especially Fluttershy when she was trying to do her own unboxing video in one episode. I also don't mind the new and exclusive characters like Potion Nova, as well as Bubbles the cat, who challenges Fluttershy for a cute stare contest. I just think they're all unique in their own way. In addition, I think it's kind of cool that the characters have modern technology like smartphones and stuff, just like in G5, which I'll get to later. But the best thing about Pony Life, in my opinion, is that it was a temporary spin off before it got replaced by Generation 5 afterwards. I also think it's 5 times better than Teen Titans Go, which I won't rant about, by the way, as well as All Engines Go, because unlike those crappy shows, Pony Life was only temporary and didn't last very long, which makes this a spin off done right, in my humble opinion. And finally, we have Generation 5. This is the one a lot of people were quite mixed on, and understandably so, which is one of the reasons why this generation failed and wasn't as popular as the last generation from the 2010s. Honestly, when I first saw the first G5 movie on Netflix, I thought it was overall decent with interesting new characters, CGI animation, and an overall good story. But when Make Your Mark came around, things were slowly going downhill. Not by much, but just a little bit. I mean, my biggest gripe with this new show is that the pacing feels too slow and full of padding here and there. Not to mention some of the inconsistencies, like when do the Earth ponies use magic, and why the lack of magic disables the flying abilities of the Pegasi. I'm kind of confused by all of that, even to this day. But hey, it's a cartoon, it's all fiction after all. But on a more positive note, I liked some of the new characters, including Izzy Moonbow, my second favorite pony character, as well as Missy Bright Dawn, whom I regret not mentioning in my top 6 MLP characters video because she's so freaking adorable. If I made that video a top 7 instead of a top 6, I would have included Misty somewhere in the middle, or even higher on the list. But no higher than Fluttershy, that's for sure. Oh, and I thought it was nice that they brought back Spike in G5 as an adult. I think his appearance looks better here than he was back in Season 9. Just saying. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to Generation 5, I like the normal CGI animated series better than the Tell Your Tale spin-off, which was 2D animated and very different from Fresh Prince Magic. I don't know, I just think the G5 characters look much better in 3D. The 2D designs look kind of goofy and weird. So overall, Generation 5 is good, but not as good as Generation 4 in terms of pacing, character designs, writing, direction, and consistency. It's too bad it got canceled and ended on an overall cliffhanger because of its failure. I know some people were happy about it, and I can understand that, but for me, I wished it ended on a better note rather than a cliffhanger. In fact, I would have loved to see more of Allura and how she and her rabbit sidekick would develop over time if the series hadn't been cancelled. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Equestria Girls, Pony Life, and Generation 5 in general. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, and click the bell icon to be notified for my latest uploads. I know I keep saying that a lot, but it's a force of habit of mine. And if you disagree with what I've said, then that's totally understandable, just as long as you don't bash me for having my own opinions on things. Oh, and sorry that this video took longer than expected. I just have writer's block as usual. And keep in mind that this will probably be my final video talking about My Little Pony in general, because in all honesty, I'm not the biggest brony like I am with Thomas and Friends, because that's the franchise I grew up with the most as a kid, along with many other childhood properties such as Disney. In fact, I hardly grew up with the first two generations of My Little Pony, which haven't aged well in terms of animation and character designs. Oh, and nothing is worse than generations 3 and 3.5 because we all know how bad those eras were. I can guarantee. This is Trevor Davis signing off, and I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Or Happy Hearth Swarming Eve, I should say. Anyway, see you later.